Hello there. It's not that often you get the chance to see a cultural icon play a gig in your own backyard for £35. However, when Paul Heaton plays the Glasgow Hydro, as he did recently, that's exactly what you get. And no great surprise then that the gigs are always a sellout. I've always been a big Heaton fan from back in the day with the Housemartins through Beautiful South and over the last 10, 15 years his solo work. When he's played live, he has invariably been joined by Jackie Abbott. Jackie hasn't been playing with him recently, and there was some curiosity and slash concern about where Heaton might go with his sound if that was to continue to be the case. Where he's went is he's brought a new co-front person to join him, Rianne Downey. Rianne's from Bellshill, just outside Glasgow, and the story goes he saw her play some songs on YouTube, got in touch, she's did some demos, and she joined the band to record the album. The album, The Mighty Several, is great, and Downey's very good on it, and a few of those songs were played tonight. And I think she's in her early 20s, Downey, so when you've got someone that age join a band of guys who are all in their 50s or early 60s, it definitely puts a bit of a sort of pep in your step, and you can see and hear that the band are having great fun doing that. And the songs all seem to be that kind of half beat quicker than they would have been in previous tours. The set list itself usually plays for a couple of hours, about 25 songs, a mix of the old and new. On this tour, he played the Bell Bottom Tier by the Beautiful South, and he mentioned that he hasn't played it for about 30 years, which I was amazed at. Sounded fantastic. And even further back, he played We're Not Deep, which is an old Housemartins album track, and he mentioned that he remembers playing that in King Tut's. I think that's from '84, I think. Real sort of post-punk feel to that one. Looked really good fun to play. He then gives a laugh by introducing A Little Time, which is the only number one that the Beautiful South had. And of course, it was ironic that Heaton himself never actually sang on the track, which gave us all a smile. He also he gave us a smile when before one of the songs, I think it might have been Heatongrad, there was a little bit of a disturbance in the crowd, and it turned out that someone had fainted, I think. And after a minute or so, when it was discovered that everyone was okay, Heaton just said it was something that happened all the time in his gigs because he was so sexy when he danced that people couldn't help but faint in front of him, which I know his wife smiled at, who was in the crowd as well. So there's always a bit of humour at his gigs. He's pretty serious as well when he has to be with his songs and his lyrics. And when he introduces Heatongrad, which is his kind of manifesto song, he also always gives it a bit of punch. And he has adapted the first line, which is now "fuck the king," when it used to be "fuck the queen." So you can see things still remain pretty important to him politically. From Heatongrad, you get the kind of race to the line with the classics. And towards the end of the set, he also played I'll Say This Ship and Loan, which he dedicated to his wife and broadly to everyone in the audience. And he got quite emotional about that one, saying that the journey he's been on is really important and it means a lot to him. And it doesn't do that very often, Ethan, so it was kind of really nice to see. He also does band introductions, and when he does those, he introduces the band members, and each of them adopt a football team from the local area that they're playing in. When he rattled through the band introductions in Glasgow, the guys all had kind of Scottish teams with them. So, for example, Heaton was a Broth FC. When he introduced Rianne Downey, he introduced Rianne Downey as Celtic FC. And in Glasgow on a Sunday night, you can imagine what that done to the crowd. There's a guy standing next to me who I'm guessing might not have been a Celtic supporter, who was particularly unhappy about that one and was letting loose with a whole bunch of expletives until happy hour come on. And then he just seemed to forget again that had happened, and he was away, dancing away. It was a magic night. Towards the end of the gig, we got the classics that we always expect. There was four songs over two encores. I don't know many guys the stature of Heaton who, in one of the encores, would give the song to the co-singer to lead on. But Rotterdam was one of the songs in the final encore, and Rianne Downey sang that one, and she sang it beautifully. And they then finished with A Caravan of Love, which was the other number one he's had from his Housemartin days. And they sing it as an a cappella. If you haven't seen them do that, check it on YouTube. It's lovely. It's a really nice way to finish. And because it's a cappella, you can hear the crowd joining in. And when you've got 13,500 Glaswegians as your backing vocalists, it's kind of quite powerful and quite emotional. And then he was gone. So as I say, I don't think I've ever seen him play a bad gig. He absolutely smashes it in the Hydro. It's not the easiest venue to do that in. He just seems to have a knack of bringing the crowd in and making everyone feel as if they're part of a smaller gig. And this one was no different. And as I mentioned earlier on, he's quite an important guy. He is a cultural icon. There can't be that many that have managed to balance being successful and not lost their kind of identity and their social values and all the other things that you hear Heaton talking about. And charging £35 for gig tickets is a great example of that. And I've always hoped one day that a bit like Mount Rushmore, there might be some sort of musical plinth or identity that we can do in the UK that reflects everything that's great about our musical icons. And if they are going to do that, I would do something on the White Cliffs of Dover. And on the White Cliffs of Dover, one of the four heads that I would put on the chalk would be Heaton. And I can't think why anyone would argue that that's not a really nice way to give some identification to everything that's great about music and about social values in the United Kingdom. And a timely reminder for everyone, I guess, as well, that these things should remain important. Heaton's a legend. The band was fantastic, and I really hope that they are coming back pretty soon. I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, we'll catch you soon. Stay safe now. All the best.